everybody. Welcome.
Julie Christie is a British actress renowned for her striking beauty, intelligence, and deeply emotive performances. She emerged as a major figure in 1960s cinema, often associated with the swinging London cultural movement. Her breakthrough came with the film Billy Liar, 1963, but she truly rose to stardom with her Oscar-winning role in Darling, 1965. Playing a model navigating the shallow glamour of the fashion world. That same year, she appeared as Lara in David Lean's epic Doctor Zhivago, which cemented her status as an international icon. Throughout her career, Christie consistently gravitated toward roles in films that challenged mainstream narratives or offered complex, often conflicted female characters. She balanced high-profile films like Fahrenheit 451, 1966, and Far from the Madding Crowd, 1967, with more independent and politically conscious work. In the 1970s, her performances in McCabe and Mrs. Miller, 1971, and Don't Look Now, 1973, showcased her range and earned her critical acclaim. Despite her fame, Christie largely avoided the trappings of celebrity. She turned down several major roles, including reportedly Anne of a Thousand Days and The French Lieutenant's Woman, and retreated somewhat from Hollywood in the late 1970s to focus on environmental and political activism. She made selective film appearances over the decades, notably in Afterglow, 1997, which earned her another Oscar nomination, and Away from Her, 2006. A poignant portrayal of a woman facing Alzheimer's disease, which brought her a fourth Academy Award nomination. Julie Christie remains one of cinema's most enigmatic and respected figures, an actress who chose depth, integrity, and independence over fame. Artistic depth and collaborations. Christie frequently worked with visionary directors who helped shape her nuanced screen presence. One of her most celebrated collaborations was with director Robert Altman, particularly in McCabe and Mrs. Miller, 1971, where she played the opium-smoking Madam, Mrs. Miller. The film's dreamlike quality and subversion of Western tropes are mirrored in Christie's layered, melancholic performance, widely considered one of her finest. She also worked multiple times with director Nicholas Roeg, most memorably in Don't Look Now, 1973, a haunting thriller about grief and premonition. Her chemistry with Donald Sutherland, especially in the film's famously intimate love scene, reflected the raw emotional realism that would come to define her acting. Personal philosophy and selectiveness. What sets Christie apart is her insistence on living outside the Hollywood machinery. She was never a careerist. Her choices were based on personal interest and political belief, not stardom. She turned down roles in blockbusters like The Stepford Wives, Chinatown, and Reds, parts that could have solidified her commercial stature but didn't align with her sensibilities. Her reluctance to court fame gave her a mystique that still surrounds her. In the 1980s and 1990s, she took a step back from mainstream films, appearing in theater and choosing smaller, often European or Canadian projects. Her return to the screen was always measured, meaningful. In Afterglow, 1997, opposite Nick Nolte, she portrayed a woman reflecting on love and loss with luminous sensitivity. Then, in Away from Her, 2006, directed by Sarah Polley, her portrayal of a woman slipping into Alzheimer's earned widespread praise and multiple awards nominations, including the Oscar, BAFTA, and Golden Globe. Legacy and influence. Julie Christie is often cited as an influence by modern actresses like Cate Blanchett, Tilda Swinton, and Rachel Weisz, performers known for balancing mainstream success with artistic integrity. She paved the way for women in film to be taken seriously as intellectual and creative forces, not just screen icons. Despite the fame, Christie remains elusive. She has never embraced the spotlight or maintained a publicist, rarely gives interviews, and leads a quiet life. Reportedly between Wales and Spain, with her partner, journalist Duncan Campbell. In essence, Julie Christie represents a rare ideal in cinema, the artist who puts substance before fame, who grows with her roles rather than being consumed by them, and whose legacy continues to inspire both audiences and filmmakers alike. Early life and entry into acting. Julie Frances Christie was born on April 14, 1940, in Assam, British India, where her father managed a tea plantation. She was sent to boarding school in England at a young age and later studied at the Central School of Speech and Drama in London. Her early work included appearances in British television series such as A for Andromeda, 1961, but her screen presence was so striking that film soon beckoned. Her early film roles, including The Fast Lady, 1962, and Billy Liar, 1963, quickly established her as a fresh new talent. She had both the camera magnetism and the introspective depth that set her apart from many of her contemporaries. Director John Schlesinger cast her in Billy Liar, and he would go on to direct her again in Darling, 1965, which won her the Academy Award for Best Actress at just 25. The face of a decade in the mid-1960s. Julie Christie became emblematic of a new kind of woman on screen, independent, sensual, intelligent, and a bit untamed. She was often dubbed the "it girl" of swinging London. But unlike many style icons of that era, Christie's allure was built as much on substance as on looks. Her performance in Doctor Zhivago, 1965, as Lara Antipova showed she could hold the screen in epic historical romance, playing opposite Omar Sharif in one of the most commercially successful films of all time. While the film solidified her global stardom, Christie didn't limit herself to mainstream productions. Her role in François Truffaut's Fahrenheit 451, 1966, in which she played dual roles, Clarice and Linda, highlighted her range and affinity for experimental cinema. Shifting toward a political and artistic life by the 1970s, Christie had become increasingly politically aware and disillusioned with Hollywood. She supported leftist causes, campaigned for nuclear disarmament, and advocated for environmental protection and animal rights. Her activism often influenced her decisions on film roles and public appearances. Rather than playing the Hollywood game, she chose films like Joseph Lossi's The Go-Between, 1971, a slow-burning class drama that won the Palme d'Or. Nicholas Roeg's Don't Look Now, 1973, a film that combined psychological horror and personal tragedy in a profound way. Demon Seed, 1977, a lesser-known sci-fi thriller where she played a woman trapped by artificial intelligence, another example of her interest in unusual, thought-provoking narratives. Her work in the 1970s often explored themes of memory, identity, and emotional complexity, precursors to the introspective cinema of later decades. Later career and awards. Though Christie began appearing on screen less frequently from the 1980s onward, she never disappeared entirely. Some highlights include Heat and Dust, 1983, another Merchant Ivory film, tying back to her roots in colonial India. Hamlet, 1996, directed by Kenneth Branagh, in which she played Gertrude with gravitas. Afterglow, 1997, a return to leading roles, winning her Best Actress at the National Society of Film Critics Awards. Away from Her, 2006, widely considered her career capstone, earning her a fourth Oscar nomination and multiple international awards. In 2008, Christie was appointed a Commander of the Order of the British Empire, CBE, but modestly declined to attend the investiture ceremony, typical of her private nature. public image and reclusion. Julie Christie has famously said she feels uncomfortable with the idea of celebrity. She never married and never sought long-term contracts with studios. While she has had high-profile relationships, including a famous, long-running romance with Warren Beatty, she always maintained her independence. For years, she lived in a Welsh farmhouse with her partner Duncan Campbell, focusing on gardening, political reading, and environmental activism. This disinterest in celebrity has only heightened her legend. Directors often speak of her as one of the most intelligent and instinctive performers they've worked with, and her reputation remains undiminished, even decades after her most prolific period. Influence and enduring relevance. Julie Christie's career has inspired not only actresses but also filmmakers who seek to tell stories of real, complicated women. Her blend of intellectual curiosity, screen magnetism, and refusal to compromise has left a lasting imprint on cinema. She represents a kind of artistic integrity that's increasingly rare, a performer who works not for applause, but for truth. Romantic relationships and public fascination. Though intensely private, Christie's romantic life has always intrigued the public, particularly her long and tumultuous relationship with actor Warren Beatty. They were together, on and off, for much of the late 1960s and early 1970s, and Beatty often credited Christie with shaping his worldview, especially politically. She reportedly helped inspire the character he played in Shampoo, 1975, in which Christie also starred. Despite the media interest, Christie consistently resisted becoming tabloid fodder. She never married during their relationship, and even when she eventually married Duncan Campbell, her partner of many years, it was in secret, with the marriage not revealed publicly until years later. Stage work and reclusiveness. Although Christie is best known for her screen work, she also acted on stage in her early career, including in productions at the Royal Shakespeare Company. However, she largely abandoned theater in the 1970s, reportedly disliking the repetition of live performance. Instead, she found greater creative and emotional fulfillment in film and, increasingly, in her life outside acting. During the 1980s and 1990s, Christie became something of a cinematic ghost, still present, still revered, but only occasionally appearing on screen. She lived quietly, split between homes in rural Wales and later Spain, and kept a low profile in an age of celebrity oversharing. This reclusiveness only made her presence more powerful when she did appear, especially in works like Afterglow and Away From Her, where her aging was embraced, not concealed. In these later roles, Christie offered a deeply human portrayal of womanhood, loss, and dignity, eschewing vanity and offering something raw and real. Themes in her filmography. Across Julie Christie's career, recurring themes appear: time and memory, Don't Look Now, Away From Her, Afterglow, disillusionment and identity, Darling, McCabe and Mrs. Miller. Fahrenheit 451, women outside of societal norms, far from the madding crowd, The Go-Between, Demon Seed. She often portrayed characters trapped between eras, ideologies, or emotional realities, women shaped by love and loss but resistant to being defined solely by either. Awards and recognition. Selected, Academy Awards. Winner, Darling, 1965. Best Actress nominated, McCabe and Mrs. Miller, 1971. Nominated, Afterglow, 1997. Nominated, Away From Her, 2006. BAFTA Awards. Winner, Darling, 1965. Winner, McCabe and Mrs. Miller, 1971. Nominated multiple times. Golden Globes. Winner, Darling, 1965. Winner, Away From Her, 2006. National Society of Film Critics Awards. Best Actress, McCabe and Mrs. Miller. Afterglow Cannes Film Festival. The go-between won the Palme d'Or, 1971. Despite this acclaim, Christie often skipped awards ceremonies and seemed ambivalent about industry honors. Her dignity and detachment added to her legend. Cultural impact. Julie Christie reshaped expectations for leading actresses. Her blend of glamour and intellect, beauty and radicalism, influenced generations. She was never just the girl in films, she was the center of them, and her characters often had emotional or moral weight greater than their male counterparts. She is regularly cited by film scholars and critics as one of the most important actresses of her era. Her place in film history is secured not just by the accolades, but by the emotional and philosophical resonance of her roles. Final thought. Julie Christie is the embodiment of cinematic authenticity, an actress who, even at the height of her fame, remained in control of her own narrative. She never allowed Hollywood to shape her identity. Instead, she shaped her career through choices that reflected both her political convictions and artistic values. She aged with grace on screen, and her continued absence only strengthens her myth. She is not just remembered, she is revered. Philosophy and approach to acting. Julie Christie has often downplayed the idea of acting as a craft requiring constant visibility or production. She once described acting as something she did, not something she was. Her detachment from the industry wasn't rooted in disdain but in a deep understanding of how fleeting fame is, and how shallow it can be if not paired with purpose. "I'm not interested in being a star. I've never liked that part of it. I do a film when I believe in the material." She has said that she never wanted a traditional career in the sense of chasing roles, and has referred to herself as lazy in that regard, though her selectiveness has been interpreted more as discipline and self-respect than indifference. She believed in storytelling, not celebrity, and refused to participate in what she viewed as the artificial machinery of stardom. Notable quotes by Julie Christie. Here are some of her most insightful or telling quotes. "I regret not having had more fun in my 20s. I was way too earnest. All that concentrated glamour and attention created such a pressure cooker of expectations, it took years to recover from the 60s. I don't think I'm that good. I always think I can do better. That's one of the reasons I'm reluctant to keep acting. It's painful sometimes when I know I haven't hit it. The world doesn't revolve around film. I love film, but I love the world more." These statements reflect both her humility and her wide-ranging interests outside the film industry, such as environmental issues, indigenous rights, feminism, and anti-war activism. Directors and actors on Julie Christie. Julie Christie is almost universally spoken of with reverence by her peers and directors. Warren Beatty, actor, director, former partner. "She changed my life. Julie was more politically aware and socially conscious than I was, and more talented than anyone knew at the time." Robert Altman, director of McCabe and Mrs. Miller. "Julie has this incredible mystery to her. She never does what you expect, and it's always better than what you imagined." Sarah Polley, director of Away From Her. "She was the dream actor. Everything was honest, never contrived. She taught me how to trust silence." Cate Blanchett, actress. Julie Christie made it possible for actresses to be complex, political, and magnetic without being labeled difficult. Julie Christie's influence on modern film culture. Her refusal to undergo plastic surgery, her acceptance of aging, and her decision to work on projects that reflected the human condition, rather than chase spectacle, paved the way for a more mature and realistic depiction of women on screen. Films like Away From Her would likely not have existed, or not with the same emotional weight, without her. She also helped redefine what a film star could be: educated, elusive, and morally engaged. She was often called a reluctant star, but the truth is she simply prioritized meaning over momentum. Final word. Julie Christie. As a cultural icon, Julie Christie's name carries an elegance, a quiet fire, and a philosophical depth rarely seen in film history. She stands at the intersection of cinema and conscience, a woman who could have ruled Hollywood but chose to live on her own terms. She is, as critic David Thompson once said, a miracle of beauty and perception, who saw through the business and stayed true to herself.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching.